Hi, my name is Rednew, and in this video, we're going to be talking about hunger. What drives a pal to do what they do? Pals need food in order to survive, or at least they need it to work. However, some pals have higher food levels than others. I got a lot of questions on my video about Digtoise asking about Astagon and Blazamut and whether or not they were the best mining pals. These pals have a mining level of 4 and a food level of 9, which is a lot higher than other pals. In this video, we're going to get to the bottom of whether or not that food level is sustainable, if they're spending way too much time eating, if their higher mining level is worth it, and determine once and for all which pals are the best at ore mining. And we're going to do this by highlighting and explaining the mechanics, hunger, and metabolism. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and remind y'all to please like and subscribe to the video. It helps me out a ton, and if you're feeling really generous, consider joining my YouTube membership. It's the best way to support me so I can continue to bring you more Palworld content. Plus, in this video, we're going to be going through a lot of tables, and all YouTube members will have view access to all the spreadsheets used in this video. Thanks again for all of your support, and now on to the video. Let me start by telling you how I went down this rabbit hole. You see, this video was supposed to be a follow-up on which pals are the best to automatically mine ore in this new patch. Now, while I was recording all of my 37 trials and I got to the end of my table, I noticed something really strange. First of all, Digtoise, of course, is still really bad. You can see he is only mining 60 ore when compared to other pals that are mining level 3. On top of that, he's eating way too many pancakes. But take a look at these pals. Mammoth and Penking. Mammoth and Penking have food levels of 8, but they are eating more pancakes than Astagon and Blazamut. Now, this is a good time to explain the basics of hunger for pals at base. When pals are assigned and working on tasks such as mining ore, a pal's hunger bar will slowly deplete. When a pal's hunger reaches half of their max hunger, then a pal will become hungry and go to eat at the nearest feed box. They will eat only one food item. Yes, one food item. So if you're still using berries, then your automatic production is going to be really bad since your pal is going to spend a lot of their time moving from workstation to feed box and back. This is why more nutritious food is valuable to maintaining a good base. The more nutrition your pals consume when they have to eat in that one food item they eat, the more time they will spend working. So Mammoth and Penking are eating more food than Blazamut and Astagon. But why? Why are they eating double? My initial thought before starting all of this was that a pal's metabolism is determined by their food level. This is the amount of bread icons you see in this part of a pal's detail sheet. From what we can see, we know that food level indicates a pal's max hunger. Demud and Quivern have a food level of 4 and a max hunger of 300, while Astagon and Blazamut have a food level of 9 and a max hunger of 600. My assumption was that hunger depletes at a rate proportionate to a pal's max hunger, which would mean that Astagon and Blazamut ought to eat more or at least the same amount of pancakes as Mammoth and Penking. All of a sudden I thought, pals might have a hidden metabolic rate that isn't based off their food level. That, or my testing was off, which ended up being true. I needed to standardize the hunger above 50% for all pals used, but that would take way too long, so instead, I decided to just come up with a whole different way of testing to find out a pal's metabolic rate and to also produce a much more accurate table. So let's talk about the test. In these trials, we're looking to measure a pal's metabolism. We'll do this with a timer. We'll wait for pals to reach half hunger, eat a pancake, and as soon as they start working on an ore node, we'll start the timer, and as soon as they turn back to eat, we'll stop the timer. This will allow us to measure how long a pal will work after eating a pancake, or in other words, work time per nut, a pal's metabolic rate, and if we pair this alongside a pal's damage it deals to the copper ore nodes, we can figure out a pal's average damage per nut. This will let us determine how food efficient a pal is, as well as allow us to reasonably guess how much copper ore a pal can mine on their own while accounting for all the times it must eat. And here are the results. So after over 42 trials, we have this really nice looking table. So let me go ahead and order it a little bit. So in this view, we can see the groups of pals. So I did 3 trials for each pal. We have 3 Demuds, we have 3 Quiverns, we have 3 Tombats, and you should be able to see on the right side over here that the results are fairly the same. And so let me go ahead and go over the different columns that we have, the major columns. So these are the pals. We have the pal's name, their mining level, their food level, As well, we have this nice little damage column over here. So AD stands for their average damage. Anyone with mining level 2 will deal the same damage as any other within that same level. And the same would go for level 3, and the same would go for level 4. So what ST stands for is swing time. It seems like every PAL, this is an assumption, but it seems like every PAL has the same exact swing time, with the only exception being Digtoise, of course. Digtoise attacks in a very different way compared to every other PAL. He's a very special little tortoise. So other than that, everyone else should be roughly the same. And the DPS is just that, right? It's the damage by the swing time. Over here, we have hunger. So the trial is supposed to start every time after they eat a pancake, but sometimes the hunger is just a little off. So I just made sure to record the hunger when they started work, when they ended work, and that way my table would be still precise, so long as what I'm looking for is metabolic rate. And you can see over here where we had this trial with Mammarist, he only had 27 nutrition to work off of, but the results are pretty much the same. Over here we have sanity. So sanity didn't really give me like any good results, but it seems to me that every PAL more or less has the same sanity depletion rate. You can see over here behind my shoulder that every PAL will lose basically a point of sanity every 14 seconds. Over here is work time in seconds, so this is just how long they worked with this set of nutrition. Their total damage is simply a calculation of their DPS times the time they've worked. So let's talk about the results column here. So work time per nut is going to tell us a PAL's metabolic rate, or how well they burned this nutrition and translate that into work time. What I wanted to figure out was if food levels determine metabolism, or if different PALs had their own PAL-specific metabolic rate. So see over here, now the PALs are ordered by metabolic rate, and we have Quiverin and Demud being at the very top, because their food level is 4. And you can see as well, the results are a little mixed. You see this one Quiverin on the bottom of the whole bunch of them. So it seems like over here, the difference between the two are pretty negligible. Now, that being said, we have the food level 5 PALs over here. The food level 5 PALs include Reptiro Christ, Reptiro, and Tombat. And while they're all food level 5, if you notice, there is still a grouping. Reptiro Christ is all grouped up together, Reptiro is all grouped up together, and Tombat is grouped up together, and they're pretty distinct. So I'm not too sure what to make of this. Like, over here we see mixed results, but over here there are pretty clear distinct groupings, and honestly, I feel like we probably need more trials to make any sort of definitive conclusion. Over here we have Anubis with the food level of 6. Over here we have Menacing with a food level of 7, and a mixed result over here between Panking and Mammarist sharing the same food level of 8, and Astagon, Blazamut, and Palladius will have the same food level of 9 and roughly fall under the same category, the same values. And at the very bottom, we have Digtoise. So this view only has Digtoise alongside all of his other peers with food level 5. He is about 6 times as worse as all the other food level 5 PALs over here. Digtoise's food level ought to be something like 20, with this being the case. Damage per nut is going to tell us a PAL's food efficiency. Damage directly translates to the number of ore mined. So how much damage can we deal per nutrition burned? Here we can see that Reptiro Christ will provide the most damage per nutrition, making Reptiro Christ and Reptiro the most food efficient PALs when it comes to mining. Digtoise again is at the bottom. With his mining level 3 stat and comparing to his other peers with the same mining level 3, he is anywhere between 6 to 8 times worse than all the other PALs that share his mining level. But all of this is with respect to pancakes. And maybe you're a maniac who doesn't like pancakes, and maybe all you care about is ore, no matter the cost. Well, turns out that we can get some pretty nice estimates on the amount of ore these PALs can farm as well. All we have to do is figure out how much time your PAL is working, and then back out the time that your PAL will spend on sanity breaks, the time a PAL eats, and with this damage column, we'll be able to figure out how much ore you would farm typically in a day. And this is a normal daytime cycle, by the way. I have some constants over here. This is so I can control how much time is allotted within a day, how much time they're spending on a break, how much nutrition the PALs are eating. And with that, I am able to simulate how much ore they are able to farm per day. So the question is, which pals are the best ore farmers? And with this, we're able to see that Astagon and Blazamut are equally as good at farming ore within a day cycle. Now, it is important to note that Astagon is a nocturnal pal, so he is able to work day and night. However, that is also going to do a number on his sanity, so if you're able to upkeep that sanity, then he should be the best. In second place are the Reptiro brothers over here. They have mining level 3, and they also don't eat very many pancakes, so this allows them to squeeze an extra bit of work time throughout the day. Anubis is probably the most accessible level 3 mining pal just because he has a lot of easy breeding combinations. How I got mine was with Mammarist and Bronze Cherry, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more easier ones that you can manage. And way at the bottom of ore farm per day, we have our friend Digtoise. At least when you compare him to like the second worst pals, he's not farming that much less, but even compared to them, you can see that he's eating almost 3 to 4 times the amount of pancakes to do a worse job, which is a little embarrassing, I would say. And honestly, you know, Digtoise could be just a big joke. You know, Pocket Pear has a really good sense of humor, but it is extremely funny to see just how bad he is compared to the rest of the other pals. Now, here's a bonus piece of information, and actually it was a pretty funny discovery throughout all of this. You may notice that this table has a severe lack of a couple of pals that ought to have been tested, and that's Palladius and Necromus. Honestly, the reason why I missed them was a combination of me forgetting and their poor work stats. So here's Palladius. Mining level 2 for food level 9. Sounds like nobody would even consider using them, which would be the case since nobody suggested them in my comments, but funny enough, when I tested Palladius, I discovered something really quirky, let's say. So, when pals mine ore, they are attacking the nodes, but stats like attack and work speed don't affect a pal's damage to the ore, and neither does level. Ranking up seems like the only way, but that said, Palladius was dealing more damage to the ore nodes than other level 2 mining pals. And I thought, why would he do that when he's unranked? I never ranked up my Palladius. Could it have been his passive skills? Because he did have legend, and I think he has that 20% neutral attack buff as well. Well, the answer is no. It seems that because the pals are attacking the nodes and all attacks have elements, Palladius seems to be applying stab to the nodes. Stab is a Pokemon term for same type attack boost. Since Palladius is neutral element and is using a neutral element attack while mining the ore, he is dealing 20% more damage than the other pals that share his mining level. I tested this with Cativa, Depresso, and Fuddler on natural stone nodes, and the principle followed. Cativa dealt more damage than Depresso and Fuddler because of its neutral typing. So if you wanted to know who was the best natural stone miner for whatever reason, it's Cativa. So if we ever get an opportunity to change a pal's typing, just know you can get an easy 20% boost in production if you could change their element to neutral. Palladius' boost is funny, but not substantial enough, however, to make it a valid choice. You can see over here, he doesn't farm that much ore. He does farm more than Quiver and Demud, of course, because he's doing more damage, but he's also eating a lot of pancakes. He's eating as much as Blossom and Astagon, so that is pretty bad, especially when you consider that you have options like Anubis and Reptiro instead of Palladius. And Palladius, despite stabbing the nodes, will not produce more ore than any of the mining level 3 pals. But there you have it. I'm sure you have learned a lot more than you ever wanted to about how a pal digests their food. The long story short is that having better food means increased work time. But because feeding doesn't take too long, it doesn't seem like it matters too much except when you get into weird cases like Digtoise, who eat over 3 to 6 times as many pancakes as the best options. And by the way, I do want to note that I did test this out on a full day cycle, and I'm really happy with these 2 columns over here because the amount of ore farmed, the amount of pancakes eaten, they are very, very close. Reptiro Christ farmed 150 ore in a full day cycle trial that I did, and Blossom farmed 208 ore and ate 8 pancakes in a full day cycle trial that I did as well. And that's going to be it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. This was certainly a lot more work than I bargained for, so please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more Palworld content, and leave a comment below and let me know if pancakes matter to you. If you want access to the sheet so you can copy it and play around with it yourself, I'll be posting the link in a follow-up YouTube community post that will be available to YouTube members only, so click the join button to become a member today. My name is Renu, I'm gonna get out of the lab and touch some Palworld grass, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace. With this discovery, you could say that Palladius was stabbing the nodes, right? Get it? Like, stab, like, you know, because he has like pointing lat. Okay, listen.